We do descriptive research if we only want to describe something, not compare it or test a causal hypothesis. So we may want to describe, say, the student population at ASU. What percentage is male and female? What is the mean high school GPA accepted at ASU? What is the median income of students' families? What is the most popular major? You might have guessed the four most common measurements reported in descriptive research from these questions. They are the mean, the median, the mode, and the percentage. Let me repeat that. The mean, the median, the mode, and the percentage. Now you should already know how to compute these, but here's some quick high school math review. How do you compute a mean? Total all the data points, then divide by the number of data points. So we would add all freshman high school GPAs and then divide by the number of freshmen. The answer, by the way, here at ASU is 3.49. How do you compute a median? List all the data points from lowest to highest, then find the midpoint. The median for ASU student family income, by the way, is $49,800. How do you compute the mode? The mode is the most frequent. So list all data point categories together from lowest to highest or alphabetically, then find the largest section. The most popular major at ASU is, that's my drum roll, psychology. So let's just quickly make sure that you all remember how to do this from your younger days. Say we have 5 students rate this painting titled The Scream, also known as The Cry, by Munch, and got these 5 ratings, 2, 10, 3, 10, and 0. Quickly compute the mean, median, mode, and the percentage who rated it above average. No calculator is needed for this. Take 1 minute here to compute these in your head, then just jot down the answers. Go. Okay, time is up. The mean is 5. The median is 3. The mode is 10. And the percent who rated it above average is 40%. Now, if you got any of these wrong and just want a quick review before our first exam, you can request this from a TA during their Zoom office hours. But we will be assuming that you know how to do this. Sometimes the mean can be really misleading, though. For instance, in the first box on this slide, see the scores that students got on their art homework out of 50 possible points. Is the mean of 31.6 a D? Does that seem representative? Not really, right? The median, 38, which is a C, is much more representative in this case, right? Why is the mean so misleading? Well, if you look in the second box on this slide right here, you will see that on a typical grading scale, there is a 5-point spread for other grades, but 29-point spread for an E. So E's lower than, say, 24 can really skew the mean. And this is why student performance, by the way, should never be reported with a mean. Next, we have correlational research. The embedded word in yellow font here, relation, is our big clue. Correlational research is looking to see if two things are related. So we could have asked, are they related? Or is there a relationship between this and that? Or are they associated? Or are they linked? Same thing, right? To answer these questions, you need to do correlational research. If they are associated, then knowing the score of one helps us to predict the score on the other. To do correlational research, we simply measure both. And remember this because this is not the case with experiments. To do correlational research, we simply measure both. Then we compute what is called a correlation coefficient. It's a tiny number, somewhere between a -1 and a +1, but it tells us a lot. It tells us if there is a relationship, 2, if it is positive or negative, and 3, how strong that relationship is. Here on this slide is your rule of thumb scale to use for interpreting correlation coefficients for this class. However, by our first test, you will want to have this scale in your head. Note that the digits around 0 represent no relationship. The ones next to it, weak relationships. Next to that, moderately strong relationships, and finally strong ones on both the positive and negative ends of the scale. If you did not print and have a copy of this ready for this class session, as you were instructed in your past week's to-do list, quick, take a screenshot or take a picture with your cell phone camera before I switch the slide, because you will need this scale to do the next slide's test your learning activity. So, it's important to note that correlational studies do not inform regarding causation. Let me repeat that. Correlational studies do not tell us anything about what causes what. Smokers have been found to consume more breath mints than non-smokers. So there is a significant link or correlation between smoking and taking breath mints. But in this case, the causal agent is neither smoking or mints. Smoking certainly does not cause breath mints, just as breath mints do not cause smoking. Instead, a completely different third variable is the causal agent, bad breath. So remember, correlational research can tell us if there is a relationship, but can tell us nothing about cause. This test you're learning is not a matching one like most. For each 1 through 7 item, you will answer these first 3 bullet points. Now, it takes a little longer to do the 4th bullet point, explaining the relationship in plain English. But once you do 1, you get the hang of it. So only do the 4th bullet point on the very first item. You get 2 minutes for this challenge. Go. Okay, time is up. So let's review these answers and see if you got them right. So number 1 is yes, negative, moderately strong. And then for the 4th bullet point, as creativity goes up, conformity goes down. And that, by the way, is why it's called the negative correlation coefficient or a negative relationship, right? If both went up or both went down together, it would be positive, a positive relationship. Now, sometimes negative relationships are called inverse relationships because as one goes in one direction, either up or down, the other does the inverse. Number 2, the answers are yes, positive, strong. Number 3, yes, negative, strong. Number 4, there is no relationship. Number 5, yes, negative, and moderately strong. Number 6, yes, positive and weak. Number 7, what does a correlation coefficient of 1.15 mean? Well, in this case, number of beers and clear thinking. It means the researcher was under the influence, right? 1.15 is not a correlation coefficient. They are always between 1 and a negative 1. So don't fall for anything like this on our first proctored exam. So we talked about how correlation research does not tell us about cause. What if you needed to know about cause? What kind of research would you have to do? And this brings us to our last type of research,